Yeah, I guess it's pretty undeniable that the U.S. has the head start and the advantage in AI. Watching the market, though, try to figure out what's priced in and where the beneficiaries are going to be and whether there's going to be a rethink of how much companies pay for various models. What do you think's going on below the surface beyond just sort of a technical gut check in the semiconductor stocks?
Mike, I think the market's moving into the second phase of the AI trade. And the first phase was about belief, and investors asked the right question: does AI work? Who's got the best model, and who has the most GPUs, and who's spending the most? Well, the second phase is about economics. So investors are now asking, can this scale, or who can it produce intelligence at the lowest cost per unit, and who can monetize it through products that people already use? So that's why we're seeing pressure across parts of tech. When you look at semiconductors, software, the big AI platforms, they're all being evaluated through the same lens. It's not just do companies have AI capability, but does AI provide a return on capital? So we can frame it as we're moving from model creation to intelligence production. And once that intelligence becomes something you produce at scale, the winners are going to be the companies that control the key inputs: chips, memory, power, data centers, models, applications. And so I think, we're just really turning to the economics of the business now. So nothing is like, I don't think we should look at this as, AI good or bad for tech. It's about what companies can turn that spending into productive capacity, and which companies may see AI compress their existing business models.
And what does that mean for these companies that are, spending to actually build the frontier models? Are we creating redundancy that's going to just collapse, return on investment down the road? I guess maybe what you're suggesting here is this explains some of the pressure we're seeing on shares of Microsoft and Meta and those types of companies?
Yeah, I think so. Let's compare and contrast. I think Meta is a good company to look at, and maybe compare it with Alphabet, Google, because Meta is spending like a hyperscaler, but they don't have the diversification of revenues, especially when it comes to an enterprise business, as opposed to looking to a company like Google that has the complete stack. Not only does Google have the data centers and the infrastructure, they have their own chips and the TPUs, they have the Gemini models, and then most importantly, what Google has is they've got so many surfaces with billions of users in search, YouTube, that both provide revenues to be able to support that build out of the data infrastructure, but also the data itself. And so I think, when I look at a company like Google with their spending, clearly the bet is on the ability for Google to become a very efficient intelligence factory where they can produce tokens at a very low cost.
Nvidia's main sources of income are its cutting-edge networking, computing, and graphics products. It recorded a 72% net income margin for the fiscal first quarter that concluded on April 26, 2026, and declared that their Vera Rubin platform went into full production on June 1, 2026. Developing microprocessors, chipsets, and graphics processing units is how Advanced Micro Devices makes money. On June 16, 2026, it announced a final agreement with Rackspace Technology. For its fiscal first quarter, which concluded on March 28, 2026, it recorded a 14% net income margin and no significant negative events. Why retail investors care about revenue. Revenue is a basic indicator of how much money a company makes overall before expenses. It's crucial since it shows how well a company is drawing clients and increasing its total revenue over time. Nvidia is experiencing steady sales increase from quarter to quarter, as the figure above demonstrates. Its leadership in cutting-edge semiconductor chips for artificial intelligence is the cause of this remarkable trend. In contrast, AMD's revenue has fluctuated from quarter to quarter, with its fiscal Q1 sales to data centers accounting for 56% of overall revenue, while Nvidia's revenue was 92%. Since AI chips are mostly purchased by data center clients, Nvidia's unique advantage in this market has enabled it to see remarkable sales growth. Because of its new Vera Rubin platform, it is likely to maintain its position as the industry leader. Over 400 of the 500 fastest supercomputers in the world employ Nvidia's technology, demonstrating the company's supremacy. Furthermore, Jensen Huang, CEO of Nvidia, has been able to accurately forecast the direction of the AI sector. In 2016, after realizing that Nvidia's graphics processing units might be used for AI, he personally delivered the first artificial intelligence-focused supercomputer to OpenAI. Then, he accurately predicted the present trend of data centers becoming into AI factories. Even though it is far from overtaking Nvidia as the industry leader, AMD has continued to be a competitor. Nevertheless, it was a strong investment in the AI field behind Nvidia, with $10.3 billion in Q1 revenue, an outstanding 38% year-over-year rise. Will Nvidia be threatened by Amazon's AI chip business? Instead of simply stocking its own data centers with these in-house made chips for the benefit of its cloud computing clients, Amazon is reportedly in early talks to sell its Trainium AI processors to outside clients. This should not be shocking. Andy Jassy, the CEO of Amazon, had previously stated that the company might be heading in that route. Nvidia, which would now have to contend with more competition for market supremacy, is one possible loser from Amazon's decision to sell its AI chips. Do investors in Nvidia need to be concerned? Amazon's AI chips have an advantage. For a number of reasons, Amazon began creating its own chips internally. Initially, to lessen its exposure to Nvidia's hardware. Nvidia has occasionally had supply issues despite being the industry leader in providing the best GPUs, graphics processing units, for training and implementing artificial intelligence, AI models. Custom-made chips can help Amazon and other hyperscalers avoid this problem. Second, using Trainium is frequently more economical for Amazon. The business claims that Trainium 2 performs 30% better at a lower cost than similar GPUs. This indicates that the cloud computing behemoth can use its Trainium franchise to save costs and increase profits. It might provide other businesses with the similar value offering. According to Amazon, if it were a standalone company, its AI chip division would generate $50 billion in revenue annually. That's not much for a company with quarterly sales of well over $100 billion, but Amazon also reported that this division is expanding at triple-digit annual rates, which is significantly faster than the rest of the company. Additionally, if the AI boom keeps up, it might become a significant factor in Amazon's growth. What does this all mean for Nvidia, though? It is noteworthy that Amazon is still a significant Nvidia client, despite the benefit of creating its own AI chips. During the company's first quarter earnings conference call, Jassy stated, "We still have a close relationship with Nvidia, even though Trainium is the company that we are bringing in the most AI processors. We will be partners for as long as I can see. We have a great deal of respect for them, and we will always have clients that wish to run Nvidia on AWS. This teaches us that Nvidia's hardware is still the greatest and most adaptable. Because of its CUDA ecosystem, the corporation also enjoys a broad moat. The quickly expanding AI sector should give Nvidia a significant boost while simultaneously supporting several winners, even as businesses look for alternative AI chips. Additionally, the emergence of agentic AI is providing Nvidia with a significant new growth opportunity. Nvidia projects that by the end of the year, AI agents running on CPUs, central processing units, will bring in $20 billion in standalone CPU revenue and start to move toward a $200 billion total addressable market. The conclusion is as follows. Nvidia will probably continue to rule supreme and provide exceptional financial returns even if Amazon's AI chip business advances. The semiconductor stock is still a buy because of this. According to a Financial Times story, the price of Nvidia's restricted AI processors has increased significantly on China's illicit market over the last 6 months as more stringent U.S. enforcement tactics make it harder to bring cutting-edge gear into the nation. The Financial Times claimed that the price of Nvidia's DGX B300 AI server has increased from about 4 million yuan 6 months ago to over 8 million yuan, $1.1 million, citing interviews with multiple Chinese chip traders. 8 Blackwell graphics processing units make up the DGX B300 system, which typically costs about $400,000 in the United States. At a time when access to cutting-edge U.S. technology is still severely restricted, The significant increase shows China's growing demand for sophisticated AI computing hardware. Nvidia's RTX 6000 Pro workstation chip, which is extensively utilized by startups creating and implementing huge language models, is another product impacted by the tightening supply environment. The price of the chip has increased from about 50,000 yuan at the start of the year to as high as 130,000 yuan in recent transactions, according to the article. Washington's semiconductor control procedures prevent the sale of the RTX 6000 Pro and the DGX B300 to Chinese consumers due to U.S. export restrictions. The price increases coincide with U.S. officials' ongoing efforts to stop sophisticated AI hardware from entering China illegally. A Supermicro co-founder, a Taiwan-based employee, and a contractor were indicted by U.S. prosecutors in March in relation to an alleged plot to smuggle Nvidia AI servers to Chinese buyers. According to authorities, the operation involved Nvidia AI systems valued at about $2.5 billion, making it the biggest U.S. law enforcement case involving the illicit export of cutting-edge AI processors to date. Chinese tech companies and AI developers continue to have a strong demand for Nvidia's high-performance AI products despite more stringent export regulations. Even as access to the newest U.S.-designed chips becomes more limited, the growing discrepancy between official price and black market values highlights the ongoing demand for sophisticated computing infrastructure required to train and run artificial intelligence models. Despite a number of obstacles, such as economic uncertainty surrounding President Trump's trade policy and high oil prices related to the Iran conflict, the S&P 500 has added 9% year-to-date. Interest rate reductions are no longer an option due to high inflation, at least not in the foreseeable future. For comparison, at this stage in 2025, the S&P 500 had increased by less than 2%. What, therefore, is causing the stock market to rise this year? Will the momentum of the market continue into the second half of 2026? What investors should know is as follows. Gains in the stock market have been fueled by remarkable financial outcomes. With a forward price-to-earnings ratio of 22 at the start of the year, the S&P 500 was valued at one of its highest levels ever. The dot-com boom and the COVID-19 pandemic are the only other times in the last 40 years that the index has surpassed that level. Bear markets resulted from both events. When the United States attacked Iran in late February, the situation became more problematic and oil prices reached their highest point since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. Consequently, inflation reached a multi-year high due to high energy prices, crushing any expectation that the Federal Reserve would soon lower interest rates. Strong financial results have been the main driver of the S&P 500's 9% increase this year. S&P 500 firms recorded 12% revenue increase in the first quarter, which is the largest since 2022. Additionally, according to FactSet Research, they posted earnings increase of 29%, the largest since 2021. Going further, the S&P 500 was led by the technology and communication services industries, which saw profit growth of 55% and 49% respectively. Additionally, the companies at the center of the development of artificial intelligence, AI infrastructure, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta Platforms, Micron Technology, and Nvidia were the top 5 contributors to the index's profits growth. According to Paul Quincy of J.P. Morgan Chase, AI's effects are becoming more widespread, and the energy industry is making more money on its own. However, we predict that U.S. earnings would increase by a mild 8% this year if we take these two market factors out of the picture. This emphasizes how crucial the current big AI investment surge is to the prospects for equities returns. In the second half of 2026, Wall Street anticipates a little increase in the S&P 500. In the remaining quarters of 2026, Wall Street experts anticipate more robust financial outcomes from S&P 500 firms. According to the average forecast, sales will expand by 11% for the entire year, the fastest growth since 2022, and earnings will grow by 23%, the highest growth since 2021. Analysts anticipate further gains in the stock market as a result. The following graphic illustrates where various Wall Street research firms and investment banks anticipate the S&P 500 will end the year. Additionally, It displays the implied rise or fall in relation to the index's present level of 7,473. The median year-end target for the S&P P500 among 19 Wall Street investment banks and research firms is 7,150. That is a 5% increase from the index's current level of 7,473 and reflects a small upward revision from 7,600 earlier this year. The S&P P500's full-year return would then be 15%. Investors should keep in mind, meanwhile, that Wall Street has often failed to accurately forecast the future moves of the stock market. According to a Reuters survey of dozens of analysts, the S&P P500's median year-end target was off by 16 percentage points on average during the previous 4 years. Investors should also be aware of the adverse possibilities. Despite a recent de-escalation, tensions remain between the United States and Iran. The Federal Reserve's 2% target for inflation is still much beyond it. Additionally, after the 10% worldwide tax expires in late July, President Trump intends to implement new tariffs this summer. In summary, investors should feel at ease purchasing equities nowadays, especially those that facilitate AI. However, negative risks call for caution. Chasing pricey initial public offerings, IPOs, like SpaceX, is not appropriate at this moment. Instead, seek out stocks that are reasonably priced and whose profits will probably increase significantly over the next 5 years.